It's so easy to waste time with SEO. Over the years, I've curated a list of 5 time wasters you really want to avoid. In this video, I'm going to show you which 5 elements you really don't want to waste your time on and what to focus your resources on instead. Let's jump right in. Chances are, especially when you're just starting out, that you're really targeting those 5,000 searches per month keywords in order to drive as many people as possible in the right moment to your website. The problem is that Google is not going to rank a low traffic website just like that for the high search volume keywords. You want to make sure that you pick your battles well, otherwise you're going to never get any traction and you're getting frustrated and the return on your SEO investment is just not going to happen. Make sure you target keywords which are in your reach, and this very often is expressed based on the traffic you get. So the traffic range you're getting every day is probably the traffic range in volume per month that you can aspire to. So if you get 100 visitors today, probably you can very easily rank for keywords up to 100 search volume per month without injecting any extra link building and things like that. So make sure you pick your battles well, otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time trying to run and chasing the wrong keywords. So as a small site, you can use keyword research tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or get someone on Fiverr, for example, research keywords within your reach for you, and then start getting those rankings in. Once you accumulate in a compounding way the traffic based on those keywords, you can then aspire to the next level of search volume. So track what kind of traffic you're getting and then match this traffic with the keywords you're actually trying to rank for. By the way, one of the most efficient ways to actually use your time in SEO is by hitting the subscribe button down below. Studies have shown that this has one of the highest ROIs you can imagine. One of the main time wasters in SEO is not doing enough of something that actually is working for you and is necessary. We see this very often when sites start out with SEO. They plan that they want to create 1 article every month, 2 articles every month. But this is going to take years until you have a decent set of articles, and Google can actually decide where they give you traction and where they don't. Not every article on your site is going to rank well, and it's only up to a certain degree possible to estimate this in advance. So very often you're going to need to create a bunch of articles, put them out there, optimize them, SEO optimize them, internally, externally link them, and see where Google gives you visibility. And then based on this knowledge, you can then go deeper and create more content around this. If you only create 1 or 2 articles every month and you don't have any other sources of content, it's going to be really hard to get to a decent amount of articles and actually get this data back from Google on where you can have additional traction. Very often we suggest creating 20, 30, maybe 50 articles in a very short amount of time, and then maybe lower the frequency in which you create content. It's not about having something to post every single week, like this very often is with social media. It's about having quality content there, but really connected with each other in a site structure that makes sense, and then maintain this content over time and maybe slowly then build it out. But get your initial set of content in as soon as possible, as fast as possible, otherwise the SEO process is going to take longer than you are willing to wait to get a positive return on investment. There is another aspect to the quantity of your articles, which is called topical relevance. Google tends to trust a site more if it has a lot of content around a certain topic. So imagine you want to rank for coffee mugs, for example. You might need additional content around coffee mugs and handmade coffee mugs and maybe coffee mug styles and big coffee mugs and small coffee mugs, etc. in order to present yourself as someone who has something to say about coffee mugs. Because with just 1 article about coffee mugs, you might not be eligible for actually a ranking. So you need this what we call topical authority, meaning that you have interconnected topics, articles that connect and present this topic well from different angles. And then Google is going to give you additional trust your content more, and the links between those articles are also going to transfer more authority. So make sure that with the quantity you also take into account that you want to really circle around topics for a while, not touch upon every single topic only from one angle, but really explore those topics over time and connect those articles together. Google is going to extract the entities of those articles, not the individual words. Entities are like the main topics, the main objects, things we can refer to. Those are entities. And Google is going to try to connect entities with each other. There are tools like entityexplorer.com, for example, where you type in coffee mugs and you're going to get all kinds of different ideas on what to create content about. And once you really cover all kinds of topics around this, then you have a much higher chance to rank for it. Time waster number 3 is transcriptions. Now, if you're a creator, if you have a podcast like we do over at seoleverage.com/podcast, you produce a lot of content. And not all the content is suitable for all types of audiences, not for all platforms. So very often the common practice is to put a podcast episode on your website and maybe have some show notes or have a transcription or both of it. If you have been following me for a while, you know I have very strong feelings about transcriptions, in a sense that I think they are pretty much useless. Very often it's said they are better than nothing, so rather than only putting up your episode of the podcast, you can add a transcription, and Google essentially has some textual content that, at least to stick their teeth in. Might still be true, but with today's artificial intelligence tools like Jarvis, for example, it should be easy enough to feed the machine the transcription or parts of it and get actual content that's easier to read. I think transcriptions have two issues. One, they're really hard to read and hardly anybody is going to go through a transcription. And the second one is that they tend to be repetitive. And what this means is that people, when they speak, tend to stress their main points several times across different episodes. So even if this episode is about time wasters, I might still at some point talk about the consistency that's necessary on the content creation or the guidance you really need in order to figure out what moves the needle. And in this case, transcriptions are going to contain parts of text that are repetitive across your site, making it harder for machine learning algorithms to really figure out what those articles are about. So rather than uploading a transcription, which might be a time waster because Google can't really do anything with it and really understand what this is about, try to get a fast first draft on the website with some AI tools and Junior Writer that is decent enough to not embarrass you on your website. And once you then see if Google starts doing something with these articles, starts ranking them on page 3, on page 4, and page 5, then get a senior copywriter in and with some conversion optimization in the article as well, try to squeeze out more leads and better rankings of those articles. But don't just put up a transcription and hope Google is going to rank it, because it's not going to happen. Time waster number 4 is product descriptions. Now, if you have an e-commerce site, chances are you have hundreds or even thousands of different products. I have seen sites having a VA or two go product after product, creating and inventing, making up completely fresh product descriptions for every single product. This is good in theory because you don't really want to have those manufacturer tags on your site because they definitely won't rank. You rather want to have original text. However, out of 5,000 products, chances are that 20% of those products make 80% of the sales. Within this 20%, there's going to be another 80-20. The Pareto principle definitely is also visible on e-commerce sites. And if you focus on the 4% that make up 64% of your sales, then you're really doing SEO in an appropriate way. And then you can zoom in and describe those products in the best possible way. And on the other ones, just really create a quick description, or maybe even go with a manufacturer text that's good enough for someone who comes to your site and happens to browse those articles, but they are not going to get the traction anyway, to make sure that your return on investment is going to be worthwhile. Focus on the 20% that get you 80% of the results and do the 80-20 on that 20% again. Then you focus on the high impact items that are going to move your bottom line in really, really nice heights. Now, before we come to number 5, please head over to Twitter or Instagram, whatever you prefer, and hit me up there, follow me, send me a message that you have seen this video, and send me what you think about it. Time waster number 5, link building. Now, don't get me wrong and stop the video just yet. Link building is definitely not a time waster per se. It's still one of the main leverage points behind an SEO campaign. However, I have seen people hire a team of VAs to go to every single website they can find in their niche to leave blog comments or directory links or forum posts. And there are definitely a lot of links that don't do anything. Google has been becoming better and better at figuring out if a link actually makes sense, and then assign value to it. So if the only links that point to your website are blog comments that say great stuff, nice content, thanks for sharing, thanks for the tips, these kinds of stuff, it's not going to do anything and Google is not going to assign any value to it. If the only links you're getting are from forum posts where probably you're going to get flagged or banned anyway after a few weeks after they discover that you only went in there to actually drop a link, it's not going to do anything for you. If the only links you're getting are from PBN networks directly pointing to your site because those links are cheap to get at scale, it's not going to do anything, or at least positive, for your site in the long run. So definitely make sure that link building is done below an overall strategy. When we do link building for a client, we first of all have the specialists team, the SEO specialists, really figure out which pages on a website actually need links. It's not enough to keep creating links to some articles in your homepage once in a while and expect Google to see the signs. Google is a machine and Google does the math. And Google is going to figure out where do those links come into the site and how do they get distributed. So when we analyze a site, we have a very good idea about its internal linking structure, about how much authority internally is going to be sent to different articles, and we are then going to be able to send links directly to those articles that then distribute the authority in the best possible way. And there is another reason why it's important to do link building in a strategic way with some SEO research being done ahead of this. And it's because very often content might be ranking without links and you would be spending time and effort and money on linking to articles that don't even need links, whereas other articles might clearly have a big gap between their link profile and top ranking websites, and you might need 20 links in order to even be eligible for a page 1 ranking. So link building needs to be done with a strategy in mind, with a lot of research and analysis in mind. You want to know which anchor text to use, you want to know which sites to use that actually are not going to be ignored by Google, and then link building is going to be a huge asset in your SEO campaign, but otherwise it can be a huge time waster as well. SEO can lead to amazing results. Some of our clients are getting 5,000 leads or more every single month from SEO without paying per lead. However, SEO can be a huge time suck. And this happens when SEO is done in an unoptimized way, without the research, without the overall strategy behind it. So make sure that you get enough guidance. Head over to SEOleverage.com, reach out to me, we get on a call, we check out your website together, and then decide whether SEO makes sense for you and where to focus on, what the next steps should be in order to make SEO be one of your main content marketing pillars. Thank you very much for watching.